Hey, one thing I love and is one of the most authentic experiences is creating a good fire. Today, we're gonna talk about how to create a good wood fire and what kind of wood you wanna use to make the best kind. So come with us, we're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be campfires, sauna fires, all the good fires here, Cedar and Stone, let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Justin here from Cedar and Stone, and today we're talking firewood. It is a snowy day here in Duluth. We just got like 4 or 5 inches of powder this morning. It's beautiful. We're here hanging out at our good friend's house. They put an ice skating rink in the front. They got the sauna in the backyard. It's a winter wonderland. Today, I want to talk a bit about fire and wood fire and what makes a good wood fire, because the folks who know, I know you're out there, there's a bit of an art form to it, and there's some things you want to do and there's things that you really want to stay away from. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to support our friends, the sponsor of this video, Stoked Firewood. They hooked us up with some amazing kiln dried firewood, and you'll find out why kiln dried is important momentarily. We got some birch from them. I love burning birch. It smells great, it lights up fast, it looks good. It's very Nordic, right? I mean, it just fits the bill. What we're doing is we're gonna just support them. We love what they're up to here in Duluth, local firewood company. Kiln dried means it can go far distances. If you're a little out of the area, you can get around that. But we love it. So let's talk now about what you're gonna need to know as you're thinking about firewood for the cabin, the campfire, your home, or your wood-fired sauna, all right? Thing number one, here's what you need to know. The kind of firewood matters. The type, the species. Today we're burning birch. It's this medium hardwood. It's real dense. And you can go much denser than that. Maple, oak, super dense. They're gonna throw a ton more BTUs. So the kind of firewood is gonna totally matter. Softwoods, they burn really hot, really quick. Good for starting up your stove. If you got some cedar scraps from the sauna you've built, those are gonna be amazing for kindling, lighting it up. If you want it to burn a long time, if you want to throw a lot of heat, let's say you're building a fire for the home, right, or the cabin inside, you're often gonna wanna use that harder wood, that denser wood. And I would say the best way to do that is find it locally sourced. So there's a ton of different restrictions and important regulations around not moving firewood, depending on where you are in the country or where you are in the world. Here in Minnesota, that is a 50-mile radius from where you want to find your firewood, and you want to keep it within a county. Most of that's because of invasive species. You don't want firewood bugs going from one county to another, to another, to another, and then you have a bunch of issues. So what we're often seeing is either get your firewood kiln dried, kills all the bugs, or make sure you're harvesting it locally, potentially on your property or from a reputable firewood source. Okay, find the people who love it, who know it. They'll be your people. They'll hook you up. Okay. Number two, let's talk a little bit about how you season your firewood. Now this is a big one. So often people have firewood and they cut it down and they put it on a pile and they think, we're good to go, let's split that, let's fire it up. If you're burning wood in a sauna stove, if you're burning wood in an internal, like a in the home wood-fired stove, you have a chimney that goes up and you want that fire to burn nice, and you also want it to burn clean. When you have firewood that isn't seasoned, it doesn't burn cleanly. There's too much moisture in that wood. It's often too green. Now there's a couple exceptions. I know you're probably saying in the comments like ash burns fine when it's green. I get it, right? There's some detail and some nuance there, but in general, you want to find good seasoned firewood. That could mean having it outdoors, seasoning, split, stacked, able to be breathable for a year, depending on where you're at in the country, depending on how you stack it, all those good kinds of things. Look into that. Like, I grew up with Dad and Grandpa cutting wood all the time, and it was always the process of you're prepping for the year, the next year, right? So all of your work in the fall or the winter, cutting and splitting wood, isn't for that year. It's for the following year. You're thinking ahead. You want that wood to be really good and seasoned. Some ways that you know that, some really key details, is looking at the wood itself. You're gonna see on the end grain of the wood some splintering and splits when that wood is good and dry. It's gonna start opening up. You're gonna start seeing that. It's gonna chop really nice. It's gonna sound really like a nice crack versus a dense thud. There is a lot of moisture in wood, and so there's a whole lot of that you wanna get out of there before you start burning it. Partially because if you don't, you're gonna add a lot more smoke. You're gonna add a lot more creosote, depending on the kinds of wood you're burning, to your chimney flue, and you want this thing to burn clean. If you use good seasoned firewood and locally sourced, it's basically carbon neutral. And that is gonna actually be because when that wood would decompose, it would let off those carbons anyway. Again, it's about how you do it, using your wood stoves. Really good wood stoves, by the way, do a good thing. They burn the wood itself, and then they also burn the gases in the wood. So there's some nuance here. If you want a great resource for this, I want to point over to Norwegian Wood. It's this amazing book on firewood. It's going to go through tools, chopping, kindling, stacking, the whole bit, with a bunch of wonderful pros on how to do that. So get that, pick that up on Amazon or wherever you're getting your local books from. It's amazing. It's one of those coffee table books that if you're a firewood pro, you probably already have it on your coffee table. If you're not, buy it for the one that you love who is. They're gonna love it. It's amazing. Thing number 3, you wanna talk about the kind of firewood, and you wanna have the type, you wanna have seasoned, but you also wanna think through chopping and splitting. I love nothing more than the therapy of chopping wood. It is so stinking good to go out there and swing the axe for a while, make some kindling, and then prep for that fire. It's just therapy. It's awesome. And for you, you want to split that wood really well. If you're making kindling, get the little hatchet, make sure it's nice, carve that out, make it great. If you're prepping for the sauna, often what you're doing is wanting enough wood in there to heat that sauna stove up to 160 to 200 degrees. Often, some folks, I know you out there, you love a little more than 200 as well. That's kind of like a prime temp. And you're gonna wanna make sure that that wood is prepped and ready, right? Some sauna stoves, they can handle a lot. Some are real small burn boxes. You're wanting to think through, hey, I wanna make sure my wood and my kindling fits into the stove I'm putting it into. And if you think about that on the front end, it's gonna save you a ton of work afterwards. When you're using the chainsaw and you're putting things to length, that's thinking through, hey, what stove am I putting this into eventually? Super good, super important. It's gonna save you time in the end. And number 4, again, I've said it before, get it locally when you can. It's gonna matter to keep that wood in one location, to keep it in a radius that makes sense, to get it from a local provider, to get it from somebody who really knows what they're doing, like our friends at Stoked, where they kiln dry it, they remove as much of the moisture as you're gonna want from it. It's always lower than 20% moisture content. You know it's sourced locally, you know it's kiln dried, so all the bugs are out of there, and it is just gonna perform really well for you. This stuff lights up quick, and it's gonna be great. Hey you guys, wood fires and winter are such a great combination. If you're looking for a good wood fire provider, hey, go talk to our friends at Stoked. If you're somewhere in the country where you're just thinking, hey, I need to make a good wood fire this winter, check out our good friends and the amazing book, Norwegian Wood. It's awesome, it's super helpful. And then check out some of the resources below. This is Justin from Cedar+Stone here in Duluth, Minnesota, and sauna is changing people's lives. And we're gonna go heat that thing up, take a sauna tonight. And we've already spent some time on the rink with the skates. So thank you guys for being here. We'll see you on the next one.